Guys, just give me a second. I need to pack my Apple mouse because I decided to make some income and sell it on Marketplace. It's been quite an expensive month for me, so I decided to do some money selling it on Marketplace. And guess what? I posted it and a nice lady emailed me saying that she will send a courier, DHL I think, to my door to collect the mouse, and she will pay me online. All I need to do is just enter my card details, like card number, expiration date, CVC code, and that's basically it. And the courier will collect it from me just from my house, and she will make an online transfer. How cool is that? Guys, if you just listen to what I did when I was selling my Apple mouse, you probably realize that it is most likely a scam that I was dealing with. And that is true. That's why in this video we will be talking about 5 key facts you need to know in order to protect yourself while dealing with Facebook Marketplace, whether you're a buyer or you're a seller. As all other marketplaces, Facebook Marketplace is full of scammers, full of bad actors that are trying to scam you for money or for something else basically. But at the same time, Facebook Marketplace is an instrumental platform to get your stuff sold, to buy new stuff, especially if you're a student, or even if you need to buy something quickly, or you don't want to spend a lot of money, say for a new coffee machine, and you just can get a coffee machine discounted from a second-hand seller. But at the same time, it's important to protect ourselves. First thing to note is that please don't choose Marketplace where possible for posting whatever you're selling, or for buying something that is far enough for a seller to post it to you. Choose another platform if it's far enough. Keep a Facebook Marketplace posts both for buying and selling within your local area. For example, if you're living in London, look for stuff that is being sold within the areas that you can drive to or you can reach in London. And likewise, if you are selling something, try to sell it to someone who is local to your area and can come and pick it up. Just an example, I was selling a luggage, and I knew that it's quite a difficult thing to sell within your local area, and there was a lady who really got interested. It was a Samsonite luggage, quite a quality piece, and she drove like for an hour from Oxford in order to collect it from me. And again, this was not local to her, but she decided to drive so that she can collect that special item, that specific item. For this reason, it's important to remember that half of scams, if not 70% on Marketplace, can be avoided if you're prepared to sell and to buy only within your local community, and look for other platforms to post whatever you're selling, or you expect to be the item to be posted to you whenever you're buying something. An example of the platform is Vinted, because in case of Vinted you have the middleman. You have the Vinted that sort of holds the funds of buyer while buyer is receiving that item by post, and likewise seller does not get the funds while he's posting the item and while the item is reaching the buyer. And that's why you sort of have this layer of security by the middleman. But in case with the Marketplace, you're one-to-one. Like Facebook says, yeah, you can leave a bad review about the seller and etc, etc, but seller can just go ahead and create another profile and continue selling, and that's it. So that's why it's very important to understand that there is no middleman in Facebook Marketplace. So there is no guarantees that if you paid to the seller to post the item, seller can just ignore you, can take your money and not post the item, or it might be a scam after all. So seller might not have an item at all. And likewise for the buyer puts himself under the risk while trusting the seller, and there is the trust component that is involved, and it's better to get rid of it. So there shouldn't be any elasticity of trust. So for example, when you have to trust the seller and etc. So keep it within your local community, and if you need to advertise or sell your item within a bigger community within your country, use Vinted, use eBay, and there are lots of other platforms to use in those cases. The second rule came up after one of our neighbor's son, who is 14 years old, was trying to sell his Xbox, and he was trying to make some money for something that he wanted, maybe new iPhone or something like that. And he posted it, and the buyer came, and buyer paid cash that was eventually fake. So they eventually found out that the cash is fake, and it was very hard for the boy because obviously he's a teenager, he was expecting that money. But unfortunately, a lot of times the people who sell expensive electronics become the victims of scam. That's important to remember, that scammers are looking for items that sell for a more expensive price, so that they can sort of give you a fake cash or do something in order to get those items and resell them on Facebook later. Fortunately, the family of that guy had a camera installed on their doorbell, so they were able sort of to post these images all over the Facebook of our local communities and report it to police. But what if they wouldn't? And again, it's a very stressful experience. That's why the solution to this is to ask for cash transfer on arrival. So whenever you're selling, let's say, an iPhone, an Xbox, or any electronics that is relatively expensive, at least £100 or even at least £50, you need to agree with buyers that there will be a cash on arrival. But not this like these scamming cash schemes and etc. No, it's when the buyer comes to your door, he sees the piece of electronics, you give him your account number, your sort code, and they do the transfer. There are also the fastest alternatives, for example, the transfer via Revolut, the transfer via Monzo, and other like these smaller banks, so there shouldn't be a high street bank involved. But again, the transfer on arrival should be completed by you receiving the money instantly, you can see it in your app, and you giving the product to the buyer. And that's how it should be. Because sometimes you can get scammed by people who come to your door and say, I made the transfer, but you haven't received the money. And then you're like, okay, maybe there is a problem with the app. But trust me, there is no problem with the app. The buyer just hasn't made the transfer. That's why it's important to like receive the money and hand in the item. And that way you will avoid a lot of scams, and that way basically it will be easier for buyer too, because like there will be direct transaction, no scamming, no regrets, and etc. And here comes the third rule. Try to aim for straightforward transactions. When I say straightforward, I mean when they say like, I will pay, just give me these details, but I can't use that, I can use this, I can't collect, I will collect 2 days after. This is a lot of hassle, you see. Whenever you're selling your secondhand stuff or anything on Facebook Marketplace, you should aim for direct and fast, hassle-free transactions. Example, they're saying like, they're asking for your bank account details because they want to make a transfer and they're going to collect tomorrow. This should ring a bell for you. Why? Because if it's £100 stuff, why would someone trust you as a seller and pay you £100 in advance when they haven't seen the product? Maybe you're lying, you don't live at that address at all, when they haven't collected. This should ring a bell instantly. So they ask for your bank details and they're like, oh, I made the transfer, but accidentally I made a transfer of £120 instead of £100. And you know what? Can you please return me these £20? That's so bad. And they send you the payment confirmation, which is a scam, which is usually a part of their phishing campaign. And you're like, oh, okay, oh, that's bad. I need to return you £20. And you know what? You go ahead and you return these £20. Result, you don't have the £20 anymore. This was a scam, and you're like, oh my god, I was scammed. And that's not something you want to happen. That's why make it as hassle-free as possible and be skeptical. Please be skeptical about it. Don't think like that the person is stupid enough or kind enough to pay you in advance in the evening for the electronics or any other items that they're going to collect tomorrow. You would ask if this happened to me, because I use Facebook Marketplace pretty often. And there were 2 cases. Like, I was selling a very cheap product, like something that I would easily give away for free. And it was £7, and the lady was like, okay, I will collect it today in the afternoon. And she made the transfer to my account in morning. And sort of there was she could believe me because it was like £7. After all, if it's a scam, which scammer would prepare a scamming idea just for £7 item, right? But also, I recently created a post on Marketplace about my iPhone that I'm selling at the moment. And one of the profiles that texted me, she was like, oh, I will make a transfer this evening and my son will collect it tomorrow if that's possible. And I was like, okay, well, I was thinking that this is a scam, but I was like, okay, let me just see what sort of scam that is. And she's like, can you send me your account details? And as long as they're asking for account number, for sort code and for your name, which is on my Facebook profile anyway, I was like, okay, I will send you my account details. And I sent her my account number, my sort code, and the name on whom the account is. And then she's sending me the screenshot. Can you please send me your email as well, because they're asking for email. And that rings a bell, because most probably when they ask you for an email, they put your email somewhere as if they're trying to hack into your account. And then you receive a code from Google, because my email is Gmail, with the code that they send you in order to sign in. And they're like, oh, you just received the code. Can you please let me know the code? And that's how they hack into your account. And I texted her back on Messenger saying that, oh, could you please send the name of the bank that you're using? Because I was never asked for an email when doing the transfers, because like, come on, they normally don't ask for an email. And that's it, she disappeared. When I entered her name and surname into the search bar in Facebook, I saw 4 different profiles with the same name and surname and same profile picture, meaning that she must be scamming people from different countries for a long time now. And that's not the fact that she's living in the UK at all. The scammers can do it from any part of the world, and that's why you need to be sort of very skeptical and keep it hassle-free. So if they're saying that we will collect the other day, we made the transfer but it was more money than we expected, and etc., this should ring a bell for you instantly, because Facebook Marketplace should be a direct transaction. Buyer liked it, buyer offers you a price if they want to offer you a price lower than your listing is, and if you accept the price, they say, can I collect tomorrow, can you give me your address? Okay, they come collect, you get your cash or you get your transfer on arrival, and that's it. Do it hassle-free. If it's not hassle-free, be as skeptical as you can, because most likely this is a scam. Rule number 4, don't click on links. If you posted something, a listing, and in 10 minutes you receive a message like, is it the same product as this? And there is a link. Never click on it. In best case scenario, this is just a link on another product and they're just trying to boost their click per rate or something like related to the digital marketing, the click rate for that product. This is the best case scenario. And in worst case scenario, this is a link to ransomware, link to malware. That's why please never click on any links. These people usually reach out to you 10 minutes after you posted your listing. That's why be skeptical about it. If you're posting something that is already on Amazon website or on any other website and they're like, the buyer, let's like pretend like the buyer wants really ask if this is the item on Amazon, for example, that I'm looking at, and you just can go to your Amazon account, take screenshot of the listing on Amazon of the product that you're selling as a second hand, and send the screenshot, say like, yeah, this is the item, and that's it. Never follow any links that potential buyers are sending you, and this is the same for buyers. So whatever sellers are selling you, please don't follow those links. If seller is selling you a link to Amazon account, which can be legit actually, in 50% it can be legit, but in 50 other percent it cannot be legit. So you can see the beginning of the link that says amazon.com, but in the end of the links there can be some malicious attachment, some malicious ending that you don't know about. That's why if seller is selling you the link from Amazon, just tell them, can you please send me the screenshot? And that's it. If it's a normal person, he or she would take a screenshot and sell you, and that's it. Easy as that, in order to make the transaction as safe as possible. And that leads you to rule number 5. When scammers don't use different schemes, they don't use different sort of links, they don't use prepaid labels, that is usually a lie. they use social engineering tools in order to make the transaction. For example, they use urgency. This is especially related to rentals. This is related to car listings on Facebook Marketplace. They say, oh my God, if you don't buy it now, if you don't pay me deposit now, it's gonna be sold to another buyer. In most of the, like, it can be the not malicious, something not malign, and in those cases they just want to manipulate you into buying their car, for example. But in worst case scenarios, it can be the rental apartment that they don't have. It's just a scam. You transfer the deposit and you lose the apartment. Also, why would you need to be manipulated into a decision like that? Okay, if it's true, if it's a real apartment or if it's a real listing, yeah, okay, but it should be your genuine decision. It should not be something you're manipulated into by the sense of urgency that they use and by all other different tools that they use in conversation with you to sort of prompt you to make the transaction faster. Also with rentals, always have video calls with them, because more often than not there are a lot of rental scams that operate around the student areas, especially because students are a bit easier to sort of scam. That's why I always have video calls with them before you make a transaction. And don't let manipulation, don't let any other thing to get in the way of your purchasing decisions. On that note, don't forget to check out my video about social engineering, where I talk about different manipulations that scammers and bad actors use to trick us to do what they want. Have a nice day. Bye.